Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jay, as we're taking the Gospels back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is Jonah, belly of the whale, God's monsters. Today we're going to look at some mysteries of the Bible. And Street Priest Ministries, raised on their main reason for being is to prove up God's Word. And God's Word speaks of monsters. God created, and He's in control of it. And we're going to read a little about Him today, and we're going to use Jonah as a kaleidoscope to view God's monsters that He's created. That's why I have a favorite saying, relax, God is in control. He made everything, including some mysterious parts of the earth where monsters have been reported to be seen of all types. We're talking giants. The Bible makes plenty of mention of giants. Leviathans, sea monsters, dragons, sea dragons, flying dragons. The Bible's full of these stories. And so is folklore around the world. I don't care where you go. You name it. There's stories of fire-breathing dragons, flying. There's stories of giants. There's stories of Bigfoot-type monsters everywhere. I don't care where you go. There's Loch Ness monster types, dinosaur type of monsters. God created it. And they're in His book. It can be found in His book. If you're not too lazy to do the research. Well, we're not too lazy, so we're going to do a little research. Now, we're going ahead and start with Pastor Jesus here. We're going to start with him. Matthew 12:39. Jonah's an important figure in the Bible. Jesus quotes him. Jesus said, as Jonah was in the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights, so will I be in the heart of the earth, in Sheol. And we're going to do a little reading on that today. Matthew 12:39. See, I love the Word of God. It's my kaleidoscope to all the answers of life. I view everything through God's Word because the answers are in God's Word. Like I said, if you're not too lazy to do the research, you'll find all the answers you're looking for. God said, pretty much it. Have the faith. That's what it takes. In His Word, and all your answers will come true that you've been searching for. All of them. What did I say? I'm lost myself, man. That's what happens when I don't mark things. I'm in a hurry. We go through this every time. All right, Matthew 12:39. This is Pastor Jesus preaching. But he answered and said unto them, an evil and an adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. Oh, nice Pastor Jesus. Called them evil. He said you're evil and an adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. And there should be no sign given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. For Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. So shall the Son of Man be 3 days, 3 nights in the heart of the earth. See? People just stumble bomb right over these words, but I don't. Where's the heart of the earth? What's in the heart of the earth? Who lives in the heart of the earth? What kind of beings can we find down there? I have a lot of questions to answer about the heart of the earth that Jesus reportedly went to. The men of Nineveh shall rise up in judgment with this generation and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonas, and behold, a greater than Jonas is here. Now, I done taught on Jonas at my teaching on it. Like I said, a lot of these characters in the Bible have many different facets, like a diamond. Hell No, I Won't Go is the title of the video. Story of Jonah. But this is not, we're looking at a different facet of Jonah's story. We're using Jonah as a kaleidoscope to look at monsters. Because that's what Jonah experienced. Alright, we're going to move on. Jesus said, a greater than Jonah, behold, a greater than Jonas is here, which he was. Alright, so we're going to move on. Now we're going to go to Ephesians 4:8, the New Testament. Ephesians 4:8. See, I love the Bible because the Bible deals in repeatables. It says the same thing over and over again, different ways, in case you forget. And this is Pastor Paul preaching. Wherefore, he said, when he ascended up on high, talking about Christ, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? Talking about Christ. Christ said he was going into the heart of the earth. Now Paul is verifying what Christ said. So when after Christ gave up the ghost and died, he went into the heart of the earth. He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens. Heavens, plural, more than one heaven. Paul said he was taken to the third heaven. I think Enoch mentioned 7 heavens. That he might feel all things. He descended, the same also ascended up far above all the heavens. Now, there's a heart of the earth. Another verse talks about he led the captives, the first Old Testament saints, set them free. If they had a place down there, they had to wait until Christ was to come. And there's a lot of folklore about underground cities under the earth. Now they happen to be in the air-conditioned part. You have the other part of Hades, Sheol, Gehenna. That's the heated section. Hell. But you have a lot of underground cities being reported, some very beautiful, where monsters live. Monster beings. Now this just happened to be a cavity, a holding tank for the old saints. There's a lot of strange things in earth, a lot of mysteries. Now let's go to Jonah himself. Since we're studying Jonah, just want you to understand, God created worlds within worlds. Underneath this earth, there's worlds. There's gateways, there's other dimensions, but there's also a series, a network of underground cities beside the interdimensional part. There's a lot of mysteries in this earth of ours. And a lot of reports over the years of people that experienced some very strange things. And seen some very strange things. Now yours truly, I talk about it, get my teaching, hell you realize where I went through a portal or a gateway. So I have experienced that, an out-of-body experience, going through another dimension. And there's been thousands of people over the years that have experienced the same thing I experienced. So if you have a lot of people saying the same thing, Bible records the same thing, there's got to be some truth to it. And you shouldn't be dismissive of it. I'm just killing myself when I don't mark that. All right, we found it. Jonah. Let's see what chapter did I write there? Jonah 1:17. This is a short verse. Like I said, you want the teaching on Jonah, I ought to read down. Just using Jonah as a kaleidoscope for God's monsters today. The Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Now Jonah rebelled against God, for those you that don't know the story. And God told him to preach to Nineveh, and he didn't want to, because Nineveh was like going to Nazi Germany, having a Jew preach in Nazi Germany. They were oppressive, and their people were captured, captive, and cruelly treated by them. So he had no love for Nineveh whatsoever. But God used Jonah, just like Christ, as a messenger to the Gentiles. Jews rejected the gospel. God's going to deal with them during the tribulation, the great tribulation, and turn their hearts back to him. They're going to sell out to the Antichrist and be hoodwinked, bamboozled by him. Then they'll realize whom they pierced, Christ. They rejected their real Messiah. And God's going to restore them. But until then, we're in the age of the Gentiles. The gospel is going out to the Gentile church, which is us. Gentile means other than Jew. You ain't a Jew, pagan and heathen is what you are. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord out of the fish's belly. Now, this was a monster. God created, the Bible said, a fish. But if you were to see a giant see-through fish, it was transparent. Now, I used to, when I was a young man and lived on the edge, like Evel Knievel, I did a lot of things I wouldn't do now. And one is swim in the ocean. I used to love swimming in the ocean. I didn't count everything in that ocean just to count. I done swam literally with our hammerhead sharks. I mean, God was on my side. Should have been eaten. It's like diving into a monster's bowl. I mean, you expect to be eaten. That's how I look at the ocean. Full of predators. So, somebody get their arm bit off or something by a shark, I mean, like, oh, well, you're in his territory. That's what he does. Like I said, I swam among jellyfish. I mean, like I said, almost everything out there that could have harmed you. It's to show you, you gotta look out for fools and babies out there. I wouldn't do it now. When I was a young man. But I've seen whales. I've been out deep in the ocean and fishing and everything. I've seen whales. They look like monsters. A lot of things in the look. A shark looks like a monster. I've seen a shark. Looks like a monster. A lot of monster-looking things. Now, this monster swallowed Jonah. This was a transparent monster. Like, you got see-through jellyfish. I counted them too. This was a transparent fish God created specifically for Jonah. See-through fish. This was God's glass mammal submarine to take Jonah to hell. So we're going to read about it. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord and his God out of the fish's belly. Now you got to picture this. God created a special fish just for Jonah. Special monster. and said, I cried by reason of my affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me out of the belly of hell. I told you he's in hell. Cried I, and thou heardest my voice, for thou hast cast me into the deep, in the midst of the seas, and the floods compassed me. Now Jonah, you got to picture this. Jonah's in this, the belly of this sea creature God created specifically for him, see-through. He could see everything. It's like being in a glass submarine. He could see, it's like the technology we have today. Because God just did it a crude way. He's witnessing there's sea monsters, there's dragons in this deep ocean. They've taken pictures of unworldly looking creatures. They're still documenting. Because now they have special submarines that can go into the depths of the miles under the sea they couldn't before due to pressurization. It would explode. But now they got highly pressurized robotic submarines that can go in the depths of the ocean. They taking pictures of unworldly creatures. Now Jonah is seeing this himself. Jonah is seeing monsters, sea monsters. Jonah, I believe, went to the gates of hell and seen the gates of hell. For thou hast cast me into the deep in the midst of the seas, and the floods compassed me about, and all the billows and thy waves passed over me. Then said I am cast out of thy sight, yet I will look again toward thy holy temple. The waters compassed me about, even to the soul. The depth closed me about. The weeds, he had seaweeds wrapped around his head, wrapped about my head. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains. I told you. This is God's submarine. It's God's see-through giant fish submarine. He's in the belly of this thing looking at everything. You can see the whole world at the bottom of the ocean. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains. The earth with her bars was about me forever. Yet hast thou brought my life up from corruption. O Lord my God. Like I said, he went down to the depths, to the gates of hell. He's seen a portal. This is deeper than what you can read deeper into what he's saying. It's like Christ went into the heart of the earth. He went through a gateway, through a portal, to bring the Old Testament saints out of it. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came unto me in thy holy temple. They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. But I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving. I will pay that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. And the Lord spake unto the fish. Told you the Lord's in control. And it vomited out Jonah upon dry land. Well, he had to start the mission over with some whale vomit on it. But at least he was alive to do so. He got out of that hell. Now that's God's special sea monster just for Jonah to carry out his operation. Now, let's go on. Now, turn to Job 38:20. We'll go to Job 38:20. God's monsters. It's the title of this. Jonah, belly of the whale, God's monster. We just use Jonah. Jonah just experienced one of God's monsters. It swallowed him. See, we try to romanticize things, but I put flesh and blood on things. I'm sorry. And I would have been feeling what Jonah's feeling. I don't think that was a pleasant experience at all. To be in anything's belly. Belly of a snake. Or maybe just imagine a giant snake swallow. All right. This is God speaking. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Now, get my teaching on Job. I don't taught on it. Is God unjust? The story of Job. Get that video. When we get to talk about Job as a just man, and God removed the hedge, Satan had to go to him for permission to get at Job, and God granted it. And was that fair? No. But anyway, this is God talking. And the Lord, this is after Job went through all his suffering and everything, and God descended in the whirlwind. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel my words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, stand up like a man. For I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Now this is God talking. For all you that want to judge God and say, why God, why you allow this to happen and that to happen? Better pay close attention. Who is this that darken the counsel of my words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man. For I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundation of earth? You that you want to judge God, where were you when he laid the foundation of earth? God did that. Everything you see, he's spoken to exist. Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof? Any of you taken measurement instruments? Tape measure and went and measured the earth? Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? How is this earth just spinning round and round and round? Like we're supposed to be moving through space 5,000 miles an hour or something. Spinning something like that. And we ain't wobbled off into outer darkness. We're still going round and round and round. Why is that? Everything's spinning and everything else is spinning around and around and around as we're spinning. It's like a synchronized clock. Whereupon are thy foundations thereof fastened? Who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Those are angels. After God's creation, they praised him. Or who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, as it had an issue out of the womb? Bands around the sea doesn't overflow. All that volume of water looked like it would just wipe out everything. When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and break up my decree place, and set bars and doors. Now here we go with those bars and doors again. Portals. There's portals all around this earth. Bars and doors. And said, hitherto thou shalt come, but no further, and hitherto thou proud ways be stayed. Current that keeps the ocean in place. Hast thou commanded the morning since the days, and caused the day spring to know his place? That it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, and hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Now Jonah got an experience with the depth of the sea. Have the gates of death been opened unto thee? That's what Jonah experienced. I see this is backing up what we just read. That's what Jonah was so frightened. He's seen things the average person never get to see till they die. Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? We're talking other dimensions, portals. So when you reach a certain depth, a certain place, it's visible. You can clearly see it. And there's other worldly beings that guard it. Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare thou knowest it all. That's why you know it all. You have no idea. You know nothing. That's the beginning point of knowledge, to know nothing. It's a lot of mysteries. Now we're going to let's go over to Job 41. Talk about God's monsters. God's hidden places where the monsters live. Canst thou draw out Leviathan? Leviathan is a famous monster of the sea dragon. It's taken down whole ships. Go ahead and go on the internet and look him up. Many stories of him. People seeing Leviathan out there. The Bible mentions it. Canst thou draw Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook into his nose? God said, I can play with it. Like a kid has a doll, I can play with Leviathan, the sea monster. Canst thou put a hook in his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Scared to death of God. All these monsters are. Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? The monsters serve God. They do what he tells them. Like I said, relax. God's in control, even of the monsters. Satan has the answer to him. We'll read this in Job as well. Couldn't even touch a hair on his head without going to God. Great is our God we serve, the Most High. Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? This is God speaking. He said, I play with the monsters like you play with a bird, then you're king. Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him, and shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish hooks? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? Just to look on this monster. Any of these God's monsters God's talking about, you'll faint. Your heart will leave. You see one of these grotesque monsters. But God said, I play with them. Like you would play with a bird in a cage. None is so fierce that to dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? This is God speaking. God said, if you can't handle my monsters, what make you think? And I play with them like birds. What make you think you can handle me? Why you going to boss up to me, God told about? Who is man? I said it 1,000,000 times. You have a very good perspective when you look at yourself as an ant, looking up to an elephant when it comes to your relationship. Our relationship with God. We're ants. He's the elephant. And then now you're in perspective. And it should make you bow down in humility. Did my teaching. I've done several teachings at different angles. The hairs on your head are numbered. Did that. Get to teaching the finger of God. And I talk about God's power. God's power is awesome. He's an awesome God. And the world will find that out. Those that don't make it in, when they get to go to a hellish world, God created a lake of fire. It was created for supernatural beings, the devil and his angels. But God made that, and he's in control of that too. And in control of the punishments that will be meted out for eternity. But hellish beings down there that you can't imagine. Now, I've been there. I don't wish that on no one. Not even my enemies. You ain't ready. None of you. I don't care how bad you think you are on this earth. You ain't ready for hell. They got some bad dudes down there. It's a very bad dude. And they love to torture you. And that's what they'll be doing throughout eternity. You have no idea what you're asking for. Those that foolishly and blindly following Satan, you have no idea what your eternal fate will be. Now, that's it on God's monsters. I'm going to be teaching a little bit more on that. You know, like I said, the Bible is an exciting book. And what we do as street priests is we strip away the traditions of men to make void the Word of God. And I hope you enjoy this lesson on God's monsters. And we're going to do a little bit more teaching on mysteries of the Bible. If you want to know about, here's some accompanying verses. Isaiah 27:1 talks about dragons of the sea. Jeremiah 14:6 talks about flying dragons. That's in the Bible as well. All right. If I'm the one to torture you, you know the drill. Go to streetpriestministry.org. Hit the donate button. Bring your tithes, first fruits, alabaster box to streetpriestministry.org. I'm the one teaching you. Galatians 6:6. Good day, good evening, good night to you around the world. May you grow in faith in Jesus' name.